Ladies and gentlemen, here is an introduction in Shi Heng Yi style, calm, wise, disciplined, and deeply reflective, for your motivational speech titled 10 Daily Habits Every Woman Must Master. In the flow of everyday life, there are countless distractions pulling us away from our center, but each woman who chooses to walk the path of mastery does not react, she responds. She does not seek control over the world, but alignment with herself. This path begins with what you do daily, not once in a while, not only when you feel inspired, but consistently. Just as a martial artist sharpens her blade every morning, you too must sharpen the mind, the body, and the spirit through disciplined habits. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to who you truly are, strong, centered, and awake. 10 daily habits, simple in words, powerful in practice. These are not rules. These are reminders, anchors for your inner strength. Let us walk through them, not in haste, but with presence, because the woman who lives with intention is already a master in motion. Discipline over motivation is the foundation of every lasting transformation. Motivation is like the wind, it comes and goes, sometimes strong, sometimes completely absent. But discipline is the sail you raise, steady and unwavering, regardless of the weather. It is not dependent on how you feel in the morning, not guided by external praise or internal excitement. Discipline is the decision to act even when every part of you wants to remain still. For a woman who chooses the path of mastery, discipline becomes her quiet ally, her unseen strength that shapes her into who she is meant to become. When you rely on motivation, you will find inconsistency. One day you feel energized and focused, and you do everything right. The next day, the spark is gone, and so are your habits. This cycle continues, leaving you frustrated and unfulfilled. Discipline breaks this pattern. It removes the need for constant inspiration by replacing emotion with commitment. You do not wait to feel ready. You act because you said you would. You train yourself to keep your word, not just to others, but most importantly to yourself. A disciplined woman wakes up not because her alarm clock rang, but because she made a promise to herself the night before. She chooses what to eat not because of cravings, but because she understands the fuel her body needs. She works on her goals even when tired, because she knows that progress doesn't wait for perfect conditions. There is power in doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. That is the moment when transformation begins, not when it's easy, but when it's uncomfortable. Discipline is not a punishment. It is not rigidity or self-denial. It is self-respect. It is the act of placing value on your time, your energy, and your future. It is the structure that allows freedom. When you are disciplined, you are no longer ruled by distractions or temporary desires. You are in control, and that control gives you the space to create, to grow, and to rise. It frees you from the chaos of inconsistency and grounds you in purpose. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you send a message to your mind that your life is in your hands, that you are not reactive but intentional, that you are not living according to moods but according to principles. And slowly, those actions become identity. You no longer have to push yourself to show up. You simply are the person who shows up. That shift is where true confidence comes from. Not from appearance, not from approval, but from inner alignment. It begins in the small things, making your bed in the morning, drinking water instead of skipping meals, putting your phone away and choosing to read or move or reflect. These small acts of discipline build your mental muscle. They tell your brain that you are capable of choosing the hard thing, and the more you do this, the easier it becomes. The habits start to flow, the discipline becomes natural, and the identity forms. You begin to see yourself as a woman of her word, a woman in charge of her own destiny. Others may see only the results, your confidence, your strength, your clarity, but they will not see the daily choices that brought you here. They will not see the mornings you rose before the sun, the nights you resisted distraction, the days you fought the urge to quit, but you will know, and that quiet knowing becomes a powerful source of self-trust. Discipline over motivation is not about perfection. It is about intention. It is about leading yourself, not waiting to be led. Mastery through mindfulness begins with the understanding that true transformation does not come from rushing through life, but from paying close attention to it. In a world that constantly pulls you in multiple directions, mindfulness is the discipline of returning to yourself. It is the art of being fully present, not just in meditation or stillness, but in every ordinary moment. When a woman chooses to live mindfully, she brings consciousness into her actions, awareness into her thoughts, and presence into her habits. And through that awareness, she gains mastery over her inner world. Most people live on autopilot. They wake up and immediately check their phones. They eat without tasting, speak without listening, and move through the day reacting rather than responding. This disconnection from the moment creates a gap between who they are and who they want to become. But mindfulness closes that gap. It brings you back to this moment, this breath, this decision. And in that space of awareness, you are given power. The power to choose how you want to live, think, and feel. Mastery does not require extraordinary effort. It requires extraordinary attention. When you drink water, are you aware of its temperature, the way it feels in your mouth, the way it nourishes your body? When you walk, are you conscious of your posture, your steps, your breath? These small acts, when done with intention, become tools for mastery. They train your mind to focus, your body to relax, and your spirit to awaken. The more present you are in your daily habits, the more control you gain over them. Mindfulness also helps you break the cycle of unconscious patterns. Many women carry emotional reactions, thoughts, and beliefs that were formed years ago. They act without realizing why, but when you are mindful, you begin to see these patterns. You notice the thoughts that arise when you fail. You become aware of the tension in your body when faced with fear. And instead of pushing those feelings away or acting on them impulsively, you observe them. Observation creates distance, and in that distance there is freedom. This freedom is what allows growth. A mindful woman doesn't judge herself harshly for feeling anxious or tired. She acknowledges it, she breathes into it, and she chooses her response from a place of clarity. This is how emotional mastery begins, not by suppressing what you feel, but by fully feeling it without being overwhelmed by it. You become both the experiencer and the observer, and with that dual awareness, you move with grace even in difficulty. Mindfulness deepens your connection to your values. When you slow down and reflect on your choices, you begin to align your actions with your intentions. You are no longer driven by habit, but by purpose. Whether it is how you speak to someone, how you spend your time, or how you treat yourself, mindfulness allows you to act from a place of integrity. It is not always easy, but it is always clear, and clarity is the root of confidence. Even in moments of stillness, mindfulness is at work, sitting quietly, noticing your breath, feeling your heartbeat. These simple practices train the mind to remain steady. And a steady mind leads to a steady life. When storms come, you do not panic. When challenges arise, you remain grounded, not because life is easier, but because you are more present in it. You are not resisting or escaping. You are here, awake, engaged. Through mindfulness, you reclaim your time, you become aware of what truly matters, you learn to listen deeply to others, to your environment, and to yourself. You begin to see that every moment carries a lesson, every habit contains a choice, and every day offers an opportunity for mastery. You don't need to wait for peace to find you. You can cultivate it, moment by moment, through awareness. Nourish the body, empower the spirit is a principle that speaks to the deep connection between physical well-being and inner strength. When a woman chooses to treat her body as a sacred vessel, she begins to unlock the full potential of her energy, clarity, and resilience. The body is not separate from the mind or the soul. It is the home in which they live. When the body is neglected, everything else becomes clouded. But when the body is nourished with care and intention, it becomes the foundation upon which confidence, focus, and emotional stability are built. Every action you take to care for your physical health is an act of self-respect. The food you choose to eat, the water you drink, the way you move your body, all of these decisions have a direct impact on how you feel, how you think, and how you show up in the world. When you fill your body with processed, low-energy food, you invite fatigue, brain fog, and imbalance. But when you choose natural, nutrient-rich foods, you fuel your body with life force. This vitality is not just physical. It radiates into your thoughts, your emotions, and your ability to lead yourself with strength and clarity. Movement is not just exercise, it is expression. It is a reminder that you are alive. Whether it's walking, stretching, training, or dancing, when you move your body, you unlock energy that is often trapped in stillness. You clear mental fog, you release emotional tension, you strengthen not only your muscles but your inner resolve. Movement brings you back to your body, and the more connected you are to your body, the more grounded you become in your presence. A strong body creates a strong container for a powerful spirit. Sleep, rest, and recovery are often overlooked, but they are essential parts of nourishment. Pushing through exhaustion may seem like strength, but true strength lies in knowing when to pause. When you rest, your body heals. When you sleep well, your mind becomes sharper. This balance between action and rest is the rhythm of sustainable growth. A woman who understands her body's cycles and listens to its signals does not burn out. She burns steadily. She honors her energy and uses it wisely. Hydration is a simple but profound practice of nourishment. Water cleanses, energizes, and sustains every function within you. Drinking water is not just a physical need. It is a reminder to stay fluid, to stay adaptable, to stay flowing. The clarity of your body reflects the clarity of your mind. When you are hydrated, your energy rises, your focus sharpens, and your skin glows. Small, consistent acts like this create a powerful ripple in your overall vitality. Beyond food and movement, nourishment also comes from what you consume mentally and emotionally. The people you surround yourself with, the media you engage with, the thoughts you entertain, these are all forms of input. A woman who chooses to nourish her mind with wisdom, her heart with compassion, and her soul with stillness becomes untouchable in her peace. She creates a field of strength around her, a field that begins from within and expands outward. Self-care is not a luxury, it is not indulgence, it is strategy, it is discipline, it is preparation. Taking care of your body prepares you to lead, to serve, to create. When your body is nourished, you do not chase energy, you radiate it, you walk with purpose, you speak with clarity, you live with intention. This physical foundation gives you access to higher emotional and spiritual states. The more grounded you are in your body, the more elevated you become in your spirit. Nourishment becomes a gateway to empowerment. It is how you rise from the inside out. Guard your inner peace is not a passive suggestion. It is a daily responsibility. In a world full of noise, pressure, and endless demands, inner peace becomes your most valuable asset. It is not found in silence alone, but in how you choose to respond to life. A woman who guards her inner peace understands that her mind is a sacred space, not open to everything and everyone. She chooses carefully what she allows in, and even more carefully what she allows to stay. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is essential. It allows you to think clearly, feel deeply, and act wisely. There are many forces that try to disturb your inner world: negative people, past wounds, digital distractions, societal expectations. If you are not intentional, these forces will take over. You will begin your day centered and end it exhausted, drained by conversations that went nowhere or problems that were never yours to solve. Guarding your inner peace means setting boundaries with firmness and compassion. It means saying no when your energy is at risk. It means recognizing when someone's presence leaves you feeling anxious rather than calm. Your time and energy are sacred currencies. Where you spend them shapes who you become. A woman who guards her peace does not engage in every argument, does not explain herself to those who are committed to misunderstanding her, and does not chase validation. She moves with quiet strength. She understands that protecting her emotional space is not about control, it's about clarity. She filters what she listens to, what she reads, what she watches, and who she allows close. She knows the cost of chaos, and she chooses peace. Guarding peace also requires inner discipline. It is easy to point at others as the cause of your stress, but often it is the internal habits that steal your calm. Overthinking, self-doubt, comparison, guilt. These are inner thieves that must be faced. Inner peace does not mean the absence of thought, but the ability to observe your thoughts without being ruled by them. Through awareness and self-regulation, you train your mind to return to stillness, to focus on the present, and to let go of what cannot be controlled. Practices like meditation, journaling, mindful breathing, and solitude become tools in this journey. They are not escapes from the world, they are returns to self. In these moments of stillness, you reconnect with your core. You remember who you are beneath the roles, the tasks, the expectations. This remembrance builds resilience. When life becomes chaotic, you no longer lose yourself in the storm. You anchor yourself inwardly, and from that place, you decide how to respond. Guarding your peace also means healing what is wounded. Sometimes the turmoil is not from the outside, but from unresolved pain within. The woman who chooses to face her shadows, who seeks understanding instead of avoidance, finds deeper peace. She stops running, she stops blaming, she takes ownership of her healing, and in doing so, she frees herself. This inner freedom becomes her power. It allows her to walk through life without being easily shaken or thrown off course. Relationships change when you protect your peace. You no longer tolerate emotional chaos disguised as passion. You no longer accept inconsistency dressed as mystery. You want depth, presence, and truth. And because you offer that to yourself, you expect it from others. You become a mirror for grounded energy, and people either rise to meet you or fall away. Either way, your peace remains intact. This peace is not always loud. It often speaks in silence, in choosing not to respond, in walking away, in pausing before reacting, in creating space between stimulus and response. That space is where your power lives. The more you cultivate it, the more you realize that protecting your peace is not about avoiding the world. It is about mastering your place within it. Speak less, listen deeper is a principle that carries quiet wisdom and profound strength. In a world where so many voices compete to be heard, silence becomes a form of power. The ability to restrain your words and offer your full attention to the present moment is not a weakness. It is a mark of mastery. A woman who learns to speak less is not withholding herself. She is choosing intentionality. She understands that her words carry energy and that silence is not the absence of communication, but often its highest form. Speaking less does not mean shrinking or becoming invisible. It means filtering your thoughts before they become words. It means knowing when something needs to be said and when silence will speak louder. It is about understanding that not every emotion needs to be expressed immediately, not every opinion needs to be shared, and not every moment requires commentary. There is strength in stillness and grace in restraint. When you speak with purpose, your voice carries more weight. It is no longer noise, it becomes a tool of clarity and precision. Listening deeper begins with full presence. It is not simply about hearing words, but about understanding what lies beneath them. To listen deeply is to connect, to hold space without judgment, to receive without interrupting, and to stay open without defensiveness. A woman who listens deeply learns more than those who talk constantly. She gathers wisdom from the world around her, from the unspoken signals, from body language, from silence itself. She listens not just with her ears, but with her awareness. In relationships, the power of listening cannot be overstated. Most people do not truly listen, they wait to respond. But when you slow down and give your full attention to another, you create a space of trust and safety. People feel seen and heard in your presence. This ability to listen, to absorb without immediately reacting, transforms the way you connect with others. It deepens intimacy, resolves conflict, and allows for mutual understanding to grow. It also teaches you patience, empathy, and emotional control. Listening deeply also applies inwardly. Your body speaks, your intuition whispers, your heart nudges you in certain directions. But when life is too loud, when your own voice never stops speaking, you miss these inner signals. To hear your inner wisdom, you must quiet the mental chatter. You must create moments of reflection, of solitude, of inward focus. In those quiet spaces, the truth rises. You start to hear what you really want, what you really need, and what you must let go of. Practicing intentional speech and deep listening changes the energy you carry. You no longer feel the need to prove, to persuade, to be right. You begin to understand that presence is more impactful than performance. That calm is more persuasive than chaos. Your words become fewer, but more meaningful. People begin to notice when you speak, because your words are rooted in thought, not impulse. You speak with intention, with heart, with clarity. This mindset also reduces unnecessary conflict. Many arguments are born from misunderstanding, from reacting too quickly, from speaking before listening. But when you hold back your immediate response and instead seek to understand, you change the dynamic completely. You shift from defense to dialogue, from tension to resolution. And that ability to stay calm, to listen, to observe before responding, that is what makes your presence magnetic and your relationships strong. In a culture that rewards loudness, choosing silence can feel countercultural, but it is in this silence that the deepest growth happens. You begin to hear life more clearly. You begin to hear others more compassionately. You begin to hear yourself more truthfully, and with that clarity, your voice becomes a conscious tool rather than a constant noise. Speaking less, listening deeper becomes not just a habit, but a way of being. A powerful, centered, intentional way of moving through the world. Align purpose with practice is the process of closing the gap between what you believe and how you live. Many people have good intentions, speak inspiring words, and make beautiful plans, but their daily actions do not reflect those ideals. A woman on the path of mastery understands that her purpose must not remain a concept. It must become her lifestyle. Every thought, decision, and habit must move in harmony with what she says she values. This is where integrity is born, not in grand moments, but in the daily alignment of inner purpose and outer action. When purpose and practice are not aligned, a woman feels fragmented. She may speak of peace but lives in chaos. She may desire growth but chooses comfort. She may claim to value health but neglects her body. These contradictions create inner tension. The spirit knows the truth even when the mouth speaks otherwise. Alignment begins with honesty, an honest look at where your current habits lead you and whether they are supporting or sabotaging your deeper purpose. To align purpose with practice, you must first be clear on what your purpose truly is. Not what others expect of you, not what society celebrates, but what your soul longs to fulfill. It might be to lead, to serve, to heal, to create, to awaken others, or simply to live in peace. Once that clarity is found, the next step is to examine your life with precision. How you spend your time, where your energy goes, what you say yes to, and what you tolerate. All of these are reflections of whether you are in alignment or not. It is not about perfection, it is about direction. You will stumble, you will have days where your actions fall short of your purpose, But the key is awareness. With awareness comes the ability to course correct. A woman who is aligned does not judge herself for missteps. She adjusts with grace and continues forward. She does not allow failure to define her path. Instead, she uses every misalignment as a mirror, as a lesson to refine her practice and deepen her purpose. Small habits hold great power. A single decision made consistently can build a bridge between the life you have and the life you envision. Waking up early, speaking kindly, prioritizing rest, setting boundaries, learning daily. Each act, when aligned with purpose, becomes sacred. The mundane becomes meaningful, the repetitive becomes ritual. You no longer wait for motivation because your purpose becomes the reason behind every action. This alignment also brings clarity in decision making. When you know your purpose, choices become simpler. You ask, does this support my mission or distract from it? Does this action strengthen who I want to become or weaken my foundation? This inner compass saves time, energy, and emotional confusion. It allows you to move with confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because you are anchored in something deeper than circumstance. Living in alignment builds self-respect. You begin to trust yourself because your actions reflect your intentions. You no longer seek approval from the outside world because you already approve of your inner world. This quiet confidence radiates. Others may not know your purpose, but they will feel your clarity. They will sense your direction. And in a world full of noise, direction is rare and powerful. There is also peace in alignment. When your actions match your values, there is no inner conflict. You sleep with a clear conscience. You wake with a sense of meaning. Your energy is no longer wasted on pretending, performing, or explaining. You simply live in truth. This truth may not be easy, but it is liberating. It frees you from comparison, from confusion, from the burden of living a life that is not truly yours. Your practice becomes your message, not what you say, but what you consistently do. People will learn more from how you live than what you teach, and in that quiet embodiment of purpose, you become a light, steady, focused, and unshakable.